So the judicial system in the United Kingdom made the decision to punish white men harsher for any particular crime just because of their gender and because of their skin color. So that is by definition racism. Racism is bigotry, but is institutionalized. So the woke culture, and again, the essence of this is nihilism. It's the attack of logic and reasoning. And it's the idea that in this particular case that white men are the progenitors of Western civilization that is just so terrible in their eyes that they have to be punished because they happen to be a man and happen to have white skin. Like I said, that is racism. I shouldn't say that I'm surprised. They are crazy, and the fact that this is being put out there gives me an opportunity to tell you just how crazy that has gotten, in this case, in the UK. So what needs to change, first of all, the philosophy needs to change. You need to reintroduce logic and reasoning and say that, well, if racism is wrong because tribalism is not right. I mean, tribalism is it's not a very civilized concept. It's a concept that you would expect to find amongst animals. But if like this type of tribalism, this racism is wrong, if we're going to judge people based on their merits, based on their actions, then it's wrong to punish somebody because of their skin color, in this case, because they happen to have white skin. So there's a couple other things I can add to this. First of all, the concept of justice is being destroyed. And that's an important marker in any developing tyranny. And the other thing is you're asserting that, ethical judgment is not based on free will. In other words, it's psychological determinism. Because I'm a white male, therefore I ought to be punished more harshly. Well, this is wrong. It's one thing to cite statistics. So you could say socioeconomically, if I'm on the lower classes, yes, I'm more likely to commit crimes. Men are more likely to commit violent crimes than women are. Black, are more likely to commit crimes because, like I said, socioeconomics, average IQ, things like that. But nonetheless, in the judicial system, and the civil and logical and rational thing to do is judge people based on their actions as an individual. We don't look at statistics. Statistics are just an average. We could say they're more likely to do something. Just because a person's a man, they're more likely to commit a violent crime. That doesn't mean that all men are violent. Obviously, that's not the case. But the other part of this is that it is destroying the essence of what of justice. It's getting to the essence of justice and destroying it. And not only is it introducing an element of psychological determinism, it says that your deeds don't matter, your skin color matters more than what you do, but it also, if things don't equate, if you have to say that somebody is more guilty because of their skin color, and for that alone, there's no justice. And that's what tyrants do. That's what they did in the Soviet Union. That's what they did in Nazi Germany. And that's what they do in every tyranny. You destroy the concept of justice, and people are more easier to control. They don't have rational expectations. Now it's about who you know instead of what you do. And that eventually just leads to civilization collapse. So anyway, I'll put a link in the description below of the article. It is madness, and this type of madness needs to be pointed out. And the solution is you introduce logic and reasoning and hold people accountable to rationality.